The Guardians of the Galaxy are weird. Not like weird, but weird in the way we don't often get a comic book movie with this kind of budget based on such obscure source material. They're also weird for other reasons, like, for example, if the green alien woman isn't anywhere near the strangest one in your group, you know something's a little left of center here. Weird though is often not a bad thing, as is proven with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Because they're not an incredibly well-known property, let's take a closer look at who the Guardians of the Galaxy are. What their skill set is, what their powers consist of, which one's the most handsome, I guess, all of that. Let's get into it. Who are they? Like the Avengers, there have been multiple Guardian teams over the years, with a rotating roster of members. Not to the extent of the Avengers, but it does get complicated. Basically though, they can be boiled down to two teams. One from the 31st century that began as a Marvel comic run in 1969, and the other modern day team that began in 2008, which is the basis for the new film. Because the original team is probably the one at this point people care the least about, I'm just gonna burn through them. You got your Vance Astro, a human mutant who possesses the Captain America shield, Martinex Tanaga, a crystal alien from Pluto, Captain Charlie 27, a soldier from Jupiter, Yondu Udonta, an archer from Centauri 4, Nikki, a human who's been genetically modified to live on Mercury for some reason, and Starhawk. He's all time travel and something, it's super complicated. Now, despite these guys operating 1,000 years from now, I wouldn't count any of them out from appearing in the new film. Yondu, for example, is in the new movie. Vance Astro has joined the modern team, and Starhawk's always banging around space and time. Sometimes even showing up female. But hey, each to their own, as long as he's being true to himself. The modern team has a bit more variation, if you can believe that, as the original ones mostly seem to be from planets we knew then to exist. So we got Peter Quill, he's a human slash Spar toy mix, who swindled his way into the Star-Lord role, a title originally given to someone he didn't like, so naturally, he just took it. The character himself has been around since the mid-70s, and then founded the original Guardians team, at least the original one, timeline-wise. Next up we have Gamora, the last of her species, who was raised and trained by Thanos, the guy who'll probably end up being the main villain in the Avengers 3, and who'll also make an appearance in this upcoming movie. She's had some horrible things happen to her over the years, not just at the hand of Thanos, but at the same time she became an extremely proficient warrior. Maybe even more so than the Karate Kid. She's also earned herself the title, the deadliest woman in the galaxy. Maybe even more so than the next Karate Kid. Following her, we have Drax the Destroyer, who was originally a saxophone player from Earth. That saxophone bit's not important, but it is true. He had an unfortunate encounter with Thanos that resulted in him and his family being made dead. He was brought back to life by being given a new super body with the sole purpose of giving Thanos a severe beating to death. Groot's up next. He's essentially a tree. Initially arriving on Earth to capture and study humans, he's been destroyed multiple times, only to then inexplicably return, like John Travolta's career. He's also the last of his kind and has a special bond with our next member, Rocket Raccoon. Everybody on the internet seems to know who this guy is by now, simply because people are baffled we're getting a superhero movie featuring a talking raccoon before we're getting a Wonder Woman film or a Flash film or a sequel to Condor Man. But yeah, basically he's a talking raccoon, weapons expert, and strategist. Of course, there are more members than this, but these are the major players that we'll see in the new movie. Other characters such as Nova, Adam Warlock, Mantis, and even Iron Man have been members of the team, some of which are rumored or confirmed to be making appearances, but time will or will not prove that to be true. Powers and abilities. Now, I'm not going to go through everyone in that much depth for this. We'll be here all day. And you shouldn't watch YouTube videos all day. After this, you should go outside and, I don't know, throw a frisbee or something. But if you do this, then someone comes up to you and is all, hey, can I play? Just be like, I don't know you. Fucking beat it! The point is, I'm just going to stick to the main 5. Also, bear in mind, some of the abilities I mention here may differ from the film as evident by the first trailer. Peter Quill, okay, this guy on his own is powerless. A regular guy who happens to be extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat, different firearms from across the galaxy. He's a good tactician and leader, plus he has a strong knowledge of all things alien and cosmic and weird. His Star-Lord suit enhances his strength and durability, also allowing him to travel in space. You know, just like that movie Gravity, but with less Bullock-esque panicking. Gamora. Now, as mentioned, she was trained by Thanos, and that ain't no small thing. Unlike Palpatine, having Thanos as your master apparently means you're less likely to have your body severed in just horrific ways. She has enhanced speed, strength, agility, durability, as well as a healing factor that's good, but not comparable to that of Wolverine. Or, you know, it is comparable. Wolverine's healing factor changes all the time, so let's just say that it is comparable or it isn't. She's also a master of stealth, martial arts, and prefers to use knives and swords. You know, as opposed to a space laser gun, or cracking someone on the back of the head with a pool cue. You know, things like that. The thing with Drax is his powers have slightly changed after being given his new body, that is. In general though, he has enhanced strength, durability, has the ability to sense Thanos across great distances, or know when someone has encountered him. Plus he's all about the knives. He also has been known to travel through space without food, air, or water. He's also not a tree or a raccoon. Groot's origins being that of an alien tree imbues him with some tree-like abilities if your perception of what trees can do is completely wrong. He's super strong, is able to increase his mass, control other trees, is highly intelligent despite having limited vocal cords, meaning he's only ever perceived as saying the words, "I am Groot." He's somehow resistant to fire and can regrow himself even from the smallest of twigs. So yeah, looks like a tree, is not really like a tree at all. Similar to that of Adrian Brody. Rocket Raccoon is literally a raccoon. I mean, he's been altered slightly by robots or something, but yeah, he's not a space alien raccoon, or a raccoon from another dimension, or a tiny man stuffed into a raccoon suit. He's an Earth raccoon. His abilities are a slightly enhanced version of what a raccoon can do. So you know, better sight reflexes and smell than that of humans. And like a raccoon, if you caught him in your garbage can, he'd probably just stop and stare at you, almost daring you to say something. Also, he's a martial artist, master tactician, strategist, pilot, weapons expert, and expert marksman. Villains! The villains of Guardians of the Galaxy consist generally of cosmic villains, most of which are unknown to that of the general movie-going public. You got your groups like the Universal Church of Truth, the Badoon, Blaster. Gorilla Man had a go briefly, sort of. Well, you know, as much as a man who's had his head grafted onto the body of a gorilla could have a go, I guess. Plus Thanos and Ronan the Accuser, the last two of which are the headlining villains in the upcoming movie. Thanos, however, will take a kind of backseat role to that of Ronan, who's a Kree law enforcer / warrior guy with a high IQ plus enhanced physical abilities. Rounding off the villains that we will see in the film is Nebula, who will be portrayed as a henchman for Thanos, who also has the enhanced physical abilities that apparently every humanoid has in this universe. If you wanted to know more about the Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie comes out, I'd recommend starting with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 Legacy and then go from there. Warning though, if you know very little about the Marvel Cosmic Universe, there's a lot going on here. You know, characters from across time and multiple realities, many pulled from different comics from over the decades. Plus there's a talking Russian space dog that runs their headquarters, that guy with the gorilla body I mentioned just before, and a bunch of other completely mental stuff. It's possibly a little daunting for the uninitiated, not your straightforward, hey, this is a guy who's been made pretty strong, or this is a guy who can shoot arrows, or this is a guy who's from space or heaven or something, who has a hammer that only he can lift. Even so, it's a pretty good read and pretty amusing in parts. This Tuesday's episode of The Weekly Planet, the official podcast of comicbookmovie.com, will cover all things Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of like a more detailed and expanded version of what happened here. The latest episode of that show on RoboCop 2014 and the Gotham TV series is also linked below. In the meantime though, how do you think general audiences will react to the Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Could it be the next Star Wars, or could it be the next John Carter of Mars? Leave your thoughts below or via my Twitter and Facebook pages, both ending in Mr. Sunday Movies, if you have anything at all to say about that. Thanks for watching everyone, take care.